Hey everyone, and welcome to World Conservation Summit. My name is Tanya Andersen, the host on this summit, and today we have an amazing speaker on. Her name is Marlice van Vuuren. Hey, my friend, can you please say your name?
It's Marlice van Vuuren.
And she is the ex-director of oh my god, and oh my god, the word is just
I'm still stuck though. Yeah, we didn't make it easy when we picked that name. So it is the executive director of the Omaheke Foundation here in Namibia in Africa.
perfect. And to you out there, guys, it's so important when you fight for animals, as Marlice and me is doing, it's so important to just do it, messy, because the animals don't care about us to be perfect. They need us to take the action. So this, I really hope we inspire you to do it also when it's a miss, because me as dyslexic, the word can be tricky for me. So thank you so much for being here together with us. The topic we will talk about today is justice for animals. This organization is, the vision for this organization is Africa, where human and wildlife can live and thrive together. It is the purpose to help conserve and the landscape of Namibia, to protect the wildlife and improve the lives of the people we work with through sustainability, innovations, oh my god, complementary activities. So my friend, can you please tell us a little bit about this amazing foundation?
So we are based in Namibia, and it was an organization that me and my husband started in 2003. And we got one Namibian partner in, and from there on, we got philanthropists, people that really want to do good in the world involved. They are all Dutch from the Netherlands, and they came in by buying land to give back and make sure that we actually keep big, large areas intact. Because our biggest problem in Namibia is people are becoming more, and like all over in the world, human-animal conflict is increasing. We are taking more and more away, and the foundation was started firstly actually for people, for the San Bushman community, because I speak Zunga, I speak Bushman, and we started it because of the San Bushman and of basic healthcare. But then it spilled over. My love was always for animals, and we decided we have to. Animals don't have a voice, so we either fix it, and we can't sit on the sideline and constantly just blame everybody and complain about it if we don't make a difference. And that's what we decided. And everything at work goes hand in hand. It's wildlife, it's landscapes, and it's people. If you cut one of them out, it does not work. So we have to find the balance. Sorry for my dogs.
I love it. It's so amazing what you share. That thing I did not know around how did this foundation start. It was about the people, and you bring the animals in, and I really love that, because the animals need a voice as you are. You're a strong voice for the animals, just for the animals, and you also really bring awareness about the people, because we get to really focus on our own health before the health will be on earth, because it's all through, as I see it, through our lifestyle. So how can we bring a better health to Mother Earth is also to focus on our own health, and the three centers you talk about, like the animals, the people, and the environments. That was my three words. This is going hand to hand, is so beautiful. So thank you for bringing that up.
No problem.
So where did you find this passion for justice for animals?
I grew up in the east of Namibia, close to Botswana border. I'm the youngest of three children. My parents are Namibian, and I'm the fifth generation Namibian. So I think when you're born in a country like Namibia, it's part of your DNA. You get so addicted to space and the sounds of nature outside, And you can quickly take it for granted. But my parents started the first wildlife sanctuary in Namibia. And I grew up with animals around me. At that stage, when I was a kid, the world was different. There was not other options for animals that were in conflict, that maybe was an orphan, that came into captivity. What do people do with those? So they started a wildlife sanctuary, and I grew up with a baby baboon in my bed, helping to take care of that little one, and a lion just being in the living room. So I grew up, I thought it was normal, till I actually went to school and realized, listen, this is not normal. The basic friends don't have that. So I think I got my love and my conservation heart from my parents. They were my example. They were my drive, my inspiration. And I was very, very lucky to find my soulmate, Rudy, and my husband, and he just made my dream come true. He's a general practitioner. He's actually a doctor, but his passion is also wildlife conservation. And I think that we work very well together, because I'm the animal part and he's the scientist part. So it's a win-win situation. So I think with doing this, you really do have to make sure that you get the right recipe. But if you do it with passion and you do it with the right reasons, then there's actually no stopping you.
Beautiful. It was you and your husband that created this foundation, right?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. So around this work you're doing down there in Namibia, how do you say that word exactly?
Namibia.
Namibia. Namibia.
Namibia.
I practice English here.
Oh, yeah, exactly. English lessons for you today.
I love it. So around animal justice, what is the 3 biggest threats you're facing in that work?
So in our day-to-day life, and this is on a massive scale, on a Namibian scale for us, it is human encroachment, so human-animal conflict because of numbers of people increasing, going into their landscapes, making animal space smaller and smaller. That is our biggest threat, one of it. And then the other one is rights and legislations and laws in our country that is so outdated and that are not protecting our wildlife. We are talking about laws and legislations from 1975 and 1962 that is still applicable today. So animals are getting killed because of outdated laws, and this is where our biggest challenge lies, to change legislation. And I'm not a political person. I'm also not an animal activist. I really want to make it clear that I'm not an animal activist. We fight for what is right in our country, and we try and make a good change for the future. And this is where the justice for animals comes from. And then the third one, I would say, is funding, because if, like COVID, for instance, knocked tourism in our country, and with tourism, a lack of tourism, we don't have funding. So that was one of our biggest challenges, and it's always a challenge, and I want to put my energy into something good. I don't want to fight. So there is a lot more that we can do with all the time and energy that we put in. But if we don't change it now, and we don't correct that two government bodies speaks to one another and change laws and legislations, we will have serious problems in the country, and we will lose species.
Can you speak a little bit more into the laws? Because I hear that in our talk before this interview, that was very interesting for me. That was like, wow, because I have no clue why it was so dated and why it is still going on right now. Can you speak a little bit more into what it's about?
So we are working on a legislation that one of the laws is dating back into 1975. And this is on the animals being transported. So the Ministry of Environment and Tourism, Forestry and Tourism, they manage that one. And for any animal that you want to move, this is now for wild animals, from point A to B, you have to have a transport permit, which is totally correct. But if that animal is in distress, so a car hit a cheetah and this cheetah is lying next to the road, you need to get that cheetah immediately to a doctor, to a vet, or to a wildlife sanctuary. It can't lay there and die slowly. So if you as an individual, as a Namibian or tourist or as a veterinarian, come across this animal, you're not allowed to pick this animal up. You have to notify the authorities, and then you have to wait and apply for a permit, a transport permit, to get the animal to medical care. So our argument here is, and if you do transport the animal, so you said, bugger this is not going to work, this animal's going to die, and you rush it to Windhoek or to the city, take it to a vet, you can get into serious trouble. You can get a fine, or you can actually go to jail because it's illegal. But this is now where our argument comes in. If this animal is in distress or in need, that should not be applicable. First obligation is you have to help the animal to get it out of stress, to get it out of pain, and to get it to a doctor. Afterwards, if this animal has to go to a wildlife sanctuary or have to be transported to be released or anything like that, then you apply for the right permits, either to keep in a wildlife sanctuary or into rehabilitation or for release. The other one is the Welfare Act from 1962. And the Welfare Act says that it is your moral obligation as a Namibian to help an animal. So it's forcing you that if you do come to an animal like this, you have to help it. Otherwise, you're also breaking the law. So these two laws, the Welfare Act and is not talking to one another. And the two governments are not talking to one another. So if we don't change it now, they're going to put new legislation in, but nobody is actually looking at these two laws. One that's saying you have to, and the other one is saying you can, you have to, but you have to wait for a piece of paper. Otherwise, you can't. So that does not make sense. It sounds very simple, and it sounds, it doesn't sound that big. But now you have to take in consideration, if I come across a cheetah, or a farmer has a cheetah that he caught in a cage because it's catching his livestock. This animal is now sitting in a cage, or a hyena is sitting in a cage, waiting for somebody to pick up a telephone in a government office. Then an email needs to be sent. Then somebody has to physically go in and pay for a permit. Only then this piece of paper is issued, then this animal can be helped. In the meantime, 3 or 4 or 5 days can go by. If it's a hyena, the animal breaks its teeth. They try and get out. Mm-hmm. They don't want to be there. They're scared. And then they don't get water. They don't, most of the times they're not in the shade, and it's hot, or it's winter, or it's a young one, or it's a baby. So you have to take all of that in consideration. Ideally would be immediately from the rehabilitation centers like us, we go in, we assess the problem, we have vets on standby, we have people that deals with the human-animal conflict to make sure it doesn't happen. Is it really necessary to bring the animal into captivity? You can collar the animal, you can release it, so that time delay is the biggest problem, because animals die like that. Mm-hmm. You can't wait for people, and if it's a public holiday or it's a weekend, then there's nobody in the office. So you can't take that in consideration. And right to life should be first, not a piece of paper. And then trust the right people like us and other NGOs that's doing this work for years to make the right decision for the animal. It shouldn't be a power struggle and an ego trip here, because there's animals dying. And then really make sure that it's not just species specific. In Namibia, you have certain species, like your charismatic ones that gets all the funding, or all the tourists want to see them. You know, the sexy ones like cheetahs. Baboons are not the sexy ones. Unfortunately, they don't tick all the boxes. They don't get all the credit, where it isn't fair. But justice for animals, the campaign Justice for Animals, it's not just for wildlife. This is for a cow, a dog, a donkey, a horse, a chicken, because they are all seen as property. They are not seen as sentient beings. They do not have, in Namibia, they do not have emotions. They do not have feelings, which is totally, totally nonsense. I mean, the first world has proven it so many times that it's not correct. And then at this stage, they are equal to as a table for me. If I own a table, I own a dog, it's the same thing. And it shouldn't be.
No.
So this is why justice for animals is there. It's not just for the wildlife. It is in general anything that falls under the animal kingdom, and Namibia needs to get a voice.
Powerful. And to you, the audience, so we touched a little bit around activist, advocate. There's a big difference just to touch that point, because as I experienced, some of you out there, as also Marlice have experienced, sorry, my friend, if the name is not quite my word, is when I talk, also when Marlice talk, I will believe you also have experienced it, talk about advocates. A lot of people see it as an activist. There's a big difference. Activist is someone understands and indicates with chain and all that, or paint on the wall, skin on the body and paint on the body. That is a big, as an advocate, is an advocate that shares the voice, that share videos, that can share pictures, it can share like what is going on out there, and really share around the laws, really like the facts in it, and meet the people where the people is. There's more like empathy, there's more connections, there's more like how can we build together, how can we grow together. Activism is more like, as I will see, like in your face around a little bit of violence in that world for me. So I hope that makes sense for you guys out there. There's a big difference from advocate to activist. And what they are working with is an advocate for the animals, justice for the animals. Do you have something to touch on that point, my friends, before we're going to next question?
I think for me, as an as an advocate for animals, is it's also, it shouldn't always, because in Namibia, the problem, you don't deal with the problem daily. So you guys don't deal with poaching every day, a rhino getting poached, or a baboon's mom getting shot, or so that's not a day-to-day thing for you. So it sounds very far, and you don't really connect with it. But I would say, if you do want to get involved in something like this, and you want to support people doing work like us, like Ngaku say, is to find the right places. Make sure your money goes to the right places, and your voice and your vote fights for the right campaign. And we need it. We really need just voices. I need people to stand up and say, and Namibia is so amazing. They are doing amazing work in certain aspects. There's the most beautiful landscapes, and you have the dunes, and you have wildlife. There's certain things that we need to change and update, and we can only do it if the first world push for it. We need voices, and we need people to actually drive it. I can do it I can jump and scream and do whatever I want on this side of the country. It doesn't carry the weight if it is a big, massive campaign with more voices than just the Omaheke people that's working here. And we've got an amazing team of people, but I need more people to help.
Yeah, and the people for all over the globe, it doesn't matter if you are from Guatemala, from Denmark, Europe, it doesn't matter. There is so many solutions for you to connect with this amazing foundation and serve them, like help them. There's so many ways how you can serve them and be a part of it and really talk into justice for animals. So you talked a little bit about it. How you deal with this threat and turn it around to something powerful. Can you share a little bit short around that? You have shared a little bit about it.
So I think our biggest threat is wildlife, landscapes that's taken away. Yeah. So we always sat with the problem is you get an animal in, it is young, old enough, strong enough, it can go back into the wild, but you cannot let it go in an open ecosystem. So you can't say, okay, pick the farm where you want to live, because most of the land are commercial farmland. So they will go back onto a cattle farm, on a sheep farm and stuff like that. So our biggest challenge was always, how do we release animals that we want to monitor, but we want to make sure that they do go into a fenced area, but that it's big enough for them to hunt. They have a good, sustainable ecosystem in there, and they don't have to be fed, and they have enough space to be free roaming. So that was one of our biggest challenges. But luckily, we got amazing people in that started buying land, that wanted land in Namibia because it's such an amazing country, want to own land, and want to come to a holiday once in a while, but give this land for conservation and make it bigger and bigger. And at this stage, we're sitting with almost 90,000 hectares under protection. And hopefully my biggest dream is by 2024 or beginning of 2025, we want to have it at 200,000 hectares. Because for every hectare that we give to animals and make it bigger and bigger, more animals can go back into the wild. And now we make the conflict less, because the ones that's already there will not go into conflict. So I think that was our biggest problem. And solution was to find the right people to become part of our conservation picture. And then for the justice for animals, we've always, the laws that wasn't updated, we always dealt with it, and animals was dying because it takes too long. And I think our solution here is we now have to push. We have to go through and we have to bite the bullet and go all the way and say, listen, now you have to change it. There's a new president in a few years should be elected, and hopefully this person actually, leave a legacy behind, that conservation is actually in the forefront of Namibia's law. So that is one of our solutions, and I believe that it will solve the problem, is just to get the right people around the table and fix it and let it talk to one another. And the funding aspect is always a problem, but we've got tourism, we've got voluntourism, we've got normal tourism, and even if you just drink a cup of coffee at the lodge or at the coffee shop in Windhoek, a percentage goes to the foundation. So that is also our economic engine to drive what we are doing. So we have to come up with solutions. You can't just sit and say, oopsie, it's not going to work.
No. It's so amazing. My quotes in my life is always say, okay, when you have one challenge, there is 50 solutions to it. It's all about how would you choose to look out of your comfort zone, to ask for support, to ask for guidance, because there's always so many solutions to one challenge. It's all about, are you ready to do that? When is it there? So it's always also to you out there, guys, when you're really going to be a voice for the animals, that really stand for justice for the animals. When you're facing a challenge, as you definitely will, that is part of the process. And in that process, you're growing, you learn so much more about yourself, and you get so strongly in your voice and who you are and your character. In that, when you face the challenge, really look about, like, if you can find 3 solutions, you can find 10. That is the first step on the simple way. And at that point, go to find 50. There's always so many solutions to one challenge. So please never stop. Please keep going. As Marlice is also, you get to have the passion. If you have the passion, you will never fail. And in the beginning, you will be messy, and that is part of the game. It's all about the action you are showing up, because at that point, you pushing others to really do also something. And really for them also to step out of their comfort zone, because you're choosing to show up out of your comfort zone and choose to fail and be messy. They inspire so many people when you choose to be imperfect, because there's so much freedom in it. So around, I would like to hear like some as a success story around what you're facing around justice for animals. Like what is the hope in it, to give the audience a feeling around there is the light? Because a lot of some people have like, where is the light?
Yeah, I think the success would be to change the laws in the country, to get it updated, that every animal is seen as a sentient being with emotions and with feelings, and that are treated in our law like that they are protected as individual animals, that we don't have to fight for that. Then we can, then at least you have a protection and a voice and a right to stay alive and not get injured or beaten or abused, protected from that side, from the law. I think that will change so much, because also your researchers, the people that's working in the field doing research on elephant and rhinos and wild dogs and lions, they will, I'm sure, be so happy about it, because the government will then basically protect these animals, not saying, okay, they are a problem animal, so let's just get rid of them. We will have to, there's a little bit more work then to be done. We have to prove it's a problem animal, and then there should be options of looking at the problem. Can we move the animal? Can it go to a private reserve? Can it go to a game park? There should be mitigation strategies. Is the farmer really doing everything in his possibility to protect his livestock, before you just say, oh, this animal is a problem, get rid of it, shoot it? So if we get this law through, I'm really hopeful that it's going to work, and then I'm sure that it's going to make it so much easier to keep animals alive, and make a decision based on data, not on emotions, not on your feelings and what you think. The law should protect these animals.
Beautiful.
So that would be a success. If it's the last thing I do before I kick the bucket and I leave, that would be my biggest goal, is to do this and change it with Ngakuse, and with the amazing team of people we have fighting very hard behind the scenes for it.
It's amazing. And to you, audience, it is the people that, as I really believe that in my whole being, it is the people that show the government, show the laws, like showing what way we want to go. So when we choose to stand more together, when you choose to reach out to this foundation, say, hey guys, I want to be a part of you, what can I do? More we are standing around the same purpose, more we are standing, the more will the government hear your voice, because more is making noises on the social media, more sharing about it. So more noises on the positive side around to be an advocate for nature, to justice for the animals, will the law see, and the government will see, and they will make change, because they can see, okay, the people want to go that way, but there is something we get to change. So you as a person, one person in your community, can make a big difference.
Exactly.
Well, so with that, with the knowledge you have now, what guidance would you give to the viewers to make the change in the lifestyle?
You know, I grew up with San Bushmen in the veld every day. I didn't even speak Afrikaans when I went to school, so I had to stay 1 year behind. But the one lesson I've learned from them is something that I always want to take with me, and I want to teach my kids. And if I could share it with somebody, I would love to just show it to everybody. It's so difficult, is to be soft on nature. You know, don't overexploit. In your tiny little bubble, like you said, one voice. It's the same for the environment. You might not be in Africa, you might sit in a flat, but that tiny little bubble, that's yours, and that's your responsibility, is be soft on it. Be gentle. You don't get that day over again. And it's just borrowed to us to look after it, not to overexploit it and destroy it. So I would say, if that is something, the minute you look at it like that be soft on it, put the lights off, close the tap, you know, pick up the garbage, even if it's just a cigarette butt. You make a small difference, and it eventually one cigarette butt can be 10 cigarette butts a day. You imagine if everybody just pick up 10 cigarette butts or 2 cigarette butts a day, we will not have a problem. So it's something so simple, and it's actually such a easy solution. But to be soft, just be soft and gentle on nature.
Beautiful, beautiful, and thank you so much. So to you, dear audience, where can you find this foundation? All the social media link is below this video, and also in the newsletter where you get this video from, there's all the links, all the information you need to know. What is the next step for you to take to be connected with this foundation? So the last words, Marlice, really hope I say your name correctly.
It's correct.
Okay. Do you have like the last word to say before we are ending this interview?
I want to say thank you to you. Thank you for the opportunity. I don't know you, but I think you're an amazing person. And follow her links. You're doing so much. You are the example. I do it on the ground, but we need more people like you. So thank you so much, Tanya. Bless you. God bless you. And don't stop doing what you're doing. Thank you.
I get emotional.
Me too, so don't. I'm a sucker. I cry very easy.
Oh, me too. It's so nice. I love it.
Yeah, come and visit.
I will definitely
you will
visit.
love
I have only been in Tanzania. Africa is an amazing place. The people is so amazing. So definitely you are on my checklist, my bucket list to I'm going there and making really a big difference together with you guys. So thank you for bottom of my heart for your time, for the work you're doing. It is so inspired by who you are and showing. I get to also know you a little bit before this interview. And I really, it's so beautiful and it's so nice to meet a person that is authentic and that is really connected with who you are, and be with your passion, with all the emotion, with all the action, with all the thoughts, and really being a leader to lead people to make a change. So from bottom of my heart, thank you so much for being who you are and being here. It is a big blessing for you to choosing to be on here, because your time is the most precious thing. So I will do everything stand with power to support your work, and also to you, dear audience, I will invite you to go on all the social media, like them, follow them, also to share like what is one aha moment you take out for this interview, like what is like I would like to act on this, like what is one thing that was popping up in your mind to act on it. It's so important you act on it in the next half an hour, because you lose so much information after a few hours. The brain is just releasing information. So I will invite you, whatever that come up in you, act on it in the next half hour. When you end this interview, I will invite you to do it. And at that point, you're also showing you are an advocate for animals, you stand for justice for animals, and also you take care of your passion and really take this next step forward on you're worth it to take this time for yourself to go and find out and work on your passions so it can come true and be a bigger voice for others.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you to the audience. Go and click on our links, and thank you so much. I have missed everyone. Bye everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.